watching Rogers TV.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing tonight? It's your boy DC, and this is Out of the Fog, a local matter show we love so much. 20-plus years, but who's counting? Tonight on the show, we have Zoe and Darcy from Scouts Canada going to talk about the amazingness of this organization and how huge they are and the good work that they do. And then it's about John Scaplin, a physiotherapist who's going to talk all about what he loves, the volunteerism, and the work he can do to help get you back on track. And then we have Mackenzie Critch. She is a star in the making. And we're going to watch a little video from her and find out about her new album coming out in just a couple of weeks. You're going to want to bend your ear to that as she makes her rounds all summer long, singing and making you smile. This is Out of the Fog, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and my first guest came through. They're sat, they're mic'd, they're ready, and they're not allowed to move. They are from Scouts Canada, and I'm so excited. Zoe and Darcy, what's going on? Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having us. It was a real pleasure to get the invite.
Of course. Listen, when I see folks out in these streets doing good work, I want them to come to the couch so that we can all understand the importance of community, volunteerism, and giving back. I mean, that's what it's all about. Am I right?
Geez, you've just done our job for us, Donnie.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Shirt?
We'll see you next time, No. Listen, I'm going to ask you both. First, you.
Yeah, sure.
What led you into this incredible organization that we all know and love so much?
Well, like a lot of parents out there, when my son was of the age when he started kindergarten, I decided that I wanted to volunteer. I wanted to be a part of what he was doing and learning. My brother was in Beavers when he was a child, and there's actually a photograph somewhere of me wearing his Beaver uniform. So apparently I've been wanting to be in the program for a long time. But when my son joined, I just decided to volunteer, and from there, it's been a whirlwind of 14 years I've been in the program. And
what?
Yeah, I've kind of moved up through the ranks as he has, and now that he's finished with the program and on to university, I've stepped into some larger roles.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
I love it. And Zoe, what led you into the organization?
I was involved with another youth organization, but then I moved and it changed. And it wasn't really what I was looking for anymore. And then I saw my brother having a great time in Beavers. And then they got me hook, line, and sinker, and here I am.
That's amazing. Isn't it wild?
Yeah.
Now, listen, I'm going to ask you. Girls, you got patches all over you. I don't know
Well
if you know
decorated.
that. I don't know if you knew.
She's super decorated.
And that's what they call it, hey? To be decorated means that you
Yeah.
get. And so talk about these seals, these patches, these adornments. Where do they come from and why are they on you?
So we have these for years of service. The gold ones are 5 years each. We have silver, or they look more white, for 1 year.
I got one more year to go before I get my next gold, so I haven't added them.
Oh, gotcha.
I've been
Almost
around
there.
for a while. These ones are basically the sections of the program you go through where I switched over from another organization. I have two. We have our outdoor adventure skills, which go up to 9. So one of few in the province to have my camping level 9 finished.
Wow.
And so we have paddling, aquatics, sailing, vertical, winter, scoutscraft, hiking, camping, and emergency skills. We have our council crest. These are commendations and medals once again, the sections, my pretty name tag, and then top section awards for Venturers and Rovers, which is the section I'm in now.
Right.
These and these are copies of each other for the Duke of Edinburgh. I have the 3 levels of that. My 5 years of service for volunteering's upside down, as per usual.
Love it.
I have my group badge and the old area badge, but we don't talk about those.
Okay, we won't.
We
Say
don't
no
have
more.
areas anymore.
Say no more.
Then we have our Respect in Sports, which is part of the volunteer training, and Focus, which was adventurer training back in the day.
Wowee, that's incredible. To me, talk about putting on something that says, yo,
Yeah.
I'm committed to growth in my life.
Exactly.
I'm committed to sewing these on.
That's a badge unto itself, sure.
It should be.
Yeah, you're right.
So you notice Zoe's got more badges than I do because she's still technically a youth in the program.
Okay.
She's a Rover Scout, which means she's under 26, and she's come up through the program as a youth where I never have.
Right.
So a lot of her badges are youth badges that go on her specific uniform.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm learning everything here, guys. Next thing you know, I'm sitting next to you next week saying, look at me, and I
We
got nothing
certainly
on
hope
mine
so.
yet.
We'd love to have you.
Well, let's talk about impact, because at the end of the day, when I sat down to learn more about this before the cameras rolled, how many folks are involved in Scouts? And you gave me some numbers that made me say, wow.
That
We
was
have-
only Newfoundland.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
here. So we have slightly under 1,300 youth and 400 volunteers.
I mean, that's huge.
It's huge.
Tell them about our worldwide impact.
Over 40 million worldwide. The world's biggest peace movement. We've been nominated for Nobel Peace Prizes a couple years,
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
Wow. Guys, it's interesting, you know, and I'm excited to have you on so that folks can understand. Because, you know, depending on when you may or may not have been involved in the era of brownies or scouts, et cetera, now Ember, as I learned today.
Embers,
See,
yeah.
I'm just learning flat out here. To me, I was not as plugged into the size and the magnitude of Scouts and Scouting as an organization around the world.
Yeah.
And may I ask you, if you had to put up in lights, what is the raison d'etre of Scouts? What is it all about? What's the pitch to the people that are not Scouts but may be? What is it about for them?
Sure. So what we say, and to sum it up in, there's a lot of different promises and things, but to teach kids to be better prepared to be leaders in our world.
Yeah.
We really focus on teamwork, team building, and community spirit. That's some of the large, and of course sustainability and leave no trace. You know, keep it and making our world better than we've left it. Those are really the key features. But one of the biggest key features in Scouts Canada that the change has happened in the last 10 years is youth-led. So whereas in previous years, the volunteers would run the program, they would come up with the ideas, they would make them happen every single week. Now the youth have so much more input in what they're doing every week. So, you know, spring season's coming up, so they'll sit down and they'll have a planning meeting and what are we going to do for the next 2 or 3 months? And they come up with ideas. They might say they want to go to the moon. We don't say no. We say, how can we make them go to the moon? You know, so we'll have a meeting where we get plastic 2-liter bottles and we form rockets on their backs and we make cardboard spaceships and, you know, there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do.
Or
Listen, I
making
love it.
airplanes out of chairs in the gym and sending them to another country where they get to taste the food and an
Yeah.
activity.
Yeah,
We do a
there's-
lot of that.
That's so
many
cool.
things.
Yeah.
And talk about the camp for a second, because
Yeah.
time is flying, but I was also blown away by that. So talk about the camp that you do every year, or every other
Sure.
year.
So our provincial jamboree, which is at Camp Norwest, which is just the east side of Terra Nova Park, it's a provincial camp, so it can hold approximately 1,000 people. We haven't had that many out there in the last number of years, so with anything that's volunteer maintained, we've got a lot of work to do now to get it
Sure.
ready. But we have a provincial jamboree coming up June 27th to the 30th. We've got approximately 700 youth and volunteers on site, and we've got everything from rock climbing to archery to air rifles, canoeing, kayaking, so many fun
Yeah.
things.
Wow. Listen, I'll tell you what, I'm so glad that you both came on the show. And to leave before we jump to the break, what is your advice to anyone who's watching us hang out here today that may be interested in checking out the organization? What do you have to say?
Scouts is for everyone, and I'd recommend checking out our website. It's for girls, it's for boys, it's for whoever you identify as, and we are welcoming to all. All are welcome at our campfire.
I love it. Thank you so much. And likewise.
Yeah, I mean, we welcome everyone to our program and our campfire, and you know, come and have an adventure.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much. Will you come back and let me know how the summer went?
Yeah, sure.
I love it.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
Guys, this is Out of the Fog. You want to check out Scouts. They are for everyone, and come stand by their fire. We'll be right back after the break.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and I love when the homies come through, especially one of my deadly buddies from the Business Association of the Newfoundland and Labrador, the one and only John Scapelin. What's going on?
This is it. Thanks for having me.
Now, listen, how many of these types of things do you do?
I do a fair bit of teaching, and I've done Mike, our buddy Mike Wall's radio show.
I
But
love
this
to
maybe my first time on the telly, you know.
Oh
so
my
that's
gosh.
a bit different for me, absolutely.
We'll send that back to the fam for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Listen, I want to ask you, the subject of personal care and health and wellness is all around us more than ever. And so here comes you as a practitioner of exactly that. What led you into this industry?
My initial career, this is my second career. I was a geophysicist in another life. That's what I did my first degree in at MUN, and I worked in oil and gas for a while out in Calgary. And I just found myself, I taught a lot of first aid, and I've been on the receiving end of some good physio for injuries when I was in university. And I'm a very personable individual, so I thought just working with people one-on-one, helping them, and just sort of being an empathetic sort of creature by my nature, it just sort of drew me into that. So it was an interesting shift in career paths, but I did that about 15 years ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made. I love what I do. So,
That's awesome. You're brave, my man, because a lot of us end up sort of being dragged by the car we built, and we don't got the bravery to get behind that wheel and pivot to a new direction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when you look back on that time of your life, did you ever imagine that you'd be where you are now?
I'm not sure, really. But back then, I guess it didn't seem as brave because, being at the time I was single and that, I think if I had, had a wife like I have now and kids and stuff, other people involved in that decision, could you go ahead and stop getting paid, go back to school, pay a bunch of tuition, that kind of thing. So it seemed kind of natural at the time, but but yeah, I think this is how I pictured it going, and I'm kind of getting where I need to get now, which is excellent. Yeah, enjoying it.
When it comes to what you do every day, it's so diverse because the people that you meet with all have different needs. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So what's that like?
I love it. Yeah, because there's such a diversity of people with chronic pain or somebody that just hurt themselves in sports or something new, or workers' injuries, motor vehicle things. And then people who've been suffering with things for years and years, and I have a lot of expertise in that area, and I have people who come to me for second and third opinions and things, so that can be really rewarding. And then day-to-day wise, it's excellent because I'm working on one person's ankle and the next person's shoulder, so it's easier on my body, not doing the same thing day in and day out, and just keeps the mind a little more agile, and which I love for sure.
Of course. And it's interesting, you talked about the nature of the reason different folks come to see you, and from ankles to shoulders and beyond. And I mean, it's no joke that a lot of the folks may be coming to you after dealing with a serious reality or, an incident, et cetera. And so I can only imagine that, there's more to what you do for your clients, your patients, than just the service that you disseminate. A lot of listening and a lot of maybe, the softer side of what they're going through. That's not necessarily the physical injury, but the mental aspect. I don't feel like that's discussed enough in caregiving equations of folks that may not have traditional mental health psychological training. But yet what you end up dealing with is far beyond the injury. I wonder if that's true.
Absolutely. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's and we're learning more and more about that in the science, about the idea that it's way beyond the tissues that are damaged. There's a bigger picture, and the longer the injury's been there, the more complicated that picture becomes.
Wow.
And it's something I love because that's certainly getting back to that personability and working with people where they are. It's a huge part of of what we do. And now more than ever, because here in this province, certainly an unprecedented number of my patients, 10% or more, don't have a family doctor. So people like myself, chiropractors, certain professions that are considered primary care, we get people straight off the street and they come, as you say, as they are, and you need to kind of get in there and try to get to the bottom of what's going on and see what they need and what you can do to advocate for them.
That's amazing. And I can only imagine that the folks who maybe have been too shy or nervous or intimidated to reach out and raise their hand to say that they need the help that they need, I can only imagine that you may agree that the longer you wait, the longer it takes. What's the truth there?
Yeah, that tends to be the case. That if usually, you give something a little bit of time, a week or two, especially if it's improving. You don't need to see somebody about every injury in a lot of cases, but once something's been there for weeks to months and is not improving, yes, getting in sooner, usually we can get you turned around quicker. That said, I've had plenty of cases with people after many years of injury coming in to see us and us being able to right the ship and do a lot to help them. So the other side of it is not to take that if it's been there too long that it can't be fixed or certainly can't be helped. That's absolutely not the case. It's very important to reach out even if you haven't before.
It's true. And I, as someone who has, dealt with some, injuries over the years as well, I can say to anyone watching this at home, don't wait. Reach out, and well, especially to our boy here, reach out to John. And because it's important that you take care of what's ailing you, because it's not going to necessarily get better unless you really get the help you need to do what's got to be done.
Absolutely.
Right? I want to take a moment to talk about volunteerism, which is near and dear to my heart, and it is to yours as well. So outside of the work that you do for, your clients and patients, where does your time go?
I spend a lot of time canoeing. I play a bit of guitar as well, that kind of stuff. I play a bit of pool, some other hobbies and that. But volunteer-wise, the two main things I do is I'm involved with a group called Wild Outside. They're a division of the Canadian Wildlife Federation. And they kind of get youth from kind of 12 up to 17 out into the outdoors with a bit of a conservation bent to it. And I really enjoy that. Right now, I think they're kind of like any federal program, they're in between funding and they're kind of working on that as well. So certainly it's something though I want to advocate for, and it's a big part of the community. Love it. Another group I'm dealing with, I can't say I volunteer because I'm new enough. I don't quite have the skills to volunteer yet, but I'm working on doing more and more courses, is Paddle NL. It's a fantastic organization. Can't recommend them highly enough. So there's a lot of social element of getting out for paddles, whether it be in your little wreck kayak or bigger things, and courses in that as well that they put off, and it's a great organization to work with, right? And there's $20 a year for a membership, and they do a paddle every Wednesday. They do lots of other big social events, overnight things, courses at a great discount. I found them to be a fantastic group to work with. So my canoeing has been one of my big things recently that I just love.
I love it. Well, listen, thanks for coming on the show. I always love when friends of mine that are entrepreneurs that work in wellness, that are there for the right reasons, are doing what they're doing. I love to celebrate them. So I'm celebrating you. Thank you so much for the good work that you do.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, brother. Come back again. Guys, John Scapelin, you want to be Googling him, checking him out, and rolling in because he got the cure for what ails you. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and she's got a name for fame and a voice to match. Mackenzie Critch, what's going on?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Now, it seems like yesterday that we hung out on the couch, but it was quite a hot minute ago.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
I know. And then you and I had conversations around the recording of an album and this and that. And guess what? Next week, it is coming out.
Yes, it'll be everyone's next week on Friday, May 23rd. I'm so excited.
Real. You know, a lot of work and a lot of heart and a lot of creativity and passion goes into recording. Am I right?
Yes. It takes, I feel like I've left a part of me in the album. It really was like my whole life for the last 2 years. It's all I did. Well, I've been to school, but when I wasn't at school, it was music. So now to like see it built, it's really nice.
It's amazing, and you got to really live it to know it. The journey of creating an album from scratch, and little lyrics and rhymes and thoughts you've had over the years, and you're culminating that into one rich project. I mean, talk about the people that have helped you bring this to life.
Yeah, I guess my first thanks is my parents. They were phenomenal through all this. They kind of stuck out from my crazy ideas. And I got some funding too, which I'm really grateful for, to do the album. And Stephen Green of Fairgale, as well as Center City Media.
Exactly.
He did some of the producing. Daniel Adams did some as well. It got mastered out of Toronto at Montana Mastering. And there's a lot of familiar names on the album. I got Nick Earl to play guitar. Darcy Scott's doing guitar and drums.
Wow.
Madeline Carter with some fiddles. So.
Oh my God, all-star.
Yeah.
All-star.
I said, let's employ as much as we can.
Exactly, let's do the thing. So what we're going to be doing here is throwing to what I'm assuming is the first song that's going to be rolling off, or is that how you're treating this song?
This song came out 2 years ago, actually. It's already on platforms, but we've remastered it and revisited it and made it kind of, this is an off-the-floor version that you're about to see. But for the album, it's this, but my voice sounds a little brighter.
Okay.
And a little, you know, it's a little more, I guess, revamped, I guess, studio version.
Well, before we throw to that, I want to ask you, look into the crystal ball of life. It's 2025, 2026. What do you see, girl?
In the future?
Yes.
Probably doing this and more. I've got some pretty cool festivals booked.
Oh, wow.
And some that I can't say, but they're coming. And I've got some cool gigs. And probably just, you know, making music and wearing nice outfits and doing my thing, you know. Probably more boots.
Such as today. Exactly.
Yeah.
More fashion, more performance. I love
Yeah.
it. So I'll tell you what, we're really excited for you. And I love when I see folks out in these streets who I know are going to be bringing the goods and doing the big things. And that's how I've always felt about you. So I wanted you to
That's
come
very
by
kind.
our last episode leading into the summer. And so now, without further ado, what I want to do is to throw to the song, or maybe I'll have you turn to the camera and you can throw it yourself.
Yeah, this is I Ain't Me, written by myself. The video was shot by Richie Perez, and the audio is by Matt Dines. This is a live off the full recording. I hope you enjoy it.
I watch you watch me across the room, up on the stage with my gold shoes, little too confident but still confused, singing for the win but willing to lose. And I ain't me when I'm not searching for the gold. And I ain't me when They said I'd never make it, but I did. They told me not to try, but I forbid it. I knew down in my heart that I was bigger than this place. Oh, I am me. I am me. And I am me when I am helping others heal. And I am me when I lift up my heart and show you what I feel. Oh, I am me when I look at this wonderful life I've built. Oh, I am me. Now be you.
And we're back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I Ain't Me, what a bop. You're going to want to be checking out Mackenzie Critch. Album comes out soon. Gigs and all sorts of amazing things to follow. So we can't wait. And also, thank you, Darcy. Thank you, Zoe. And thank you, everyone who's come on the show tonight. So appreciate. We'll see you, well, in September.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
Everybody knows not to drink and drive, but some people still think it's okay to take drugs and drive. Police have the authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RCMP, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive Drivers.
In hockey, only one name transcends the game. It's not Gordy, the great one, or the great eight. Not a Bobby or a Bob.